right, much better. Now can I get you to say and spell your name, please?
Bob Brewer, B-O-B-B-R-E-W-E-R.
Okay, great. All right, I may periodically look up there just to make sure you're still in focus there, but
Okay.
first of all, can you tell me about this resolution?
It's a resolution that was written by a lady named Heidi Teese. She's on the city council in League City, Texas. And I've been following Heidi for quite a while. She's quite a patriot, and she really wants to protect Texas, and keep Texas. If we don't save Texas, we don't save the country, basically.
What is the issue here?
The issue is the overwhelming influx of illegal aliens across the border and the crime committed by them. Bob Hall is a senator that will probably win the election in November from District 2. He was saying, and others have said, 645,000 crimes since 2008 have been committed by illegals, which includes just a whole bunch, like 3,000 murders, I think it is. And just, it's just, we're overwhelmed.
Is that the biggest problem that we as a state are facing? Is it the crime, or are there other issues?
There's the possibility of disease. We had a press conference down in Speaker Strauss's committee room back on, the 16th, and we had a bunch of experts there. There was Margarita Graham from Texas, who's a physician, and she testified about all the health hazards, whooping cough, pertussis, TB, scabies, and it's pretty scary. And there's, chances are if it gets past the border, it could come here. I had a friend that went down to the border, and she was staying with a lady that employs handicapped people to clean up some of the facilities down there. When she got there, this employer stated that 2 of her employees were in the hospital getting transfusions because of something they'd contacted in these detention facilities. So that's kind of what, that prompted a lot of this. It's got me scared.
So what are you hoping to achieve? I know you said you've filed this resolution. It's been...
Well, I just gave it to them.
Okay.
And asked them to consider it. So they decided to consider it. I had 3 commissioners say they were on board with it. One commissioner told me about it, the second commissioner, and so anyway, 3 total. So it looked like it might pass. On further inspection, they were a little uneasy with the language of it. So we get into the legal part of it, which kind of, exposes us to losing federal funding or, upsetting somebody, on a higher level. And so, it may jeopardize some of our money coming back to us from the federal government.
What does it say essentially?
Well, the key part that got yanked was it's on the 3rd page here. Let's see. Section 1, that all agencies of the County of Smith are instructed to refuse requests or directives by federal agencies to permit or establish any facility for purposes of processing, housing, or detaining any illegal aliens designated as refugee or otherwise. So that was the key thing that sort of got yanked out. So we really are kind of under attack from within. The federal government has demonstrated that they're not doing what the main purpose of the Constitution is to preserve, protect, and defend us. Controlling our borders is one of those things. It's designated in the Constitution. The 10th Amendment says all powers not given to the federal governments are reserved to the states or the people. So what's going on here, the federal government has demonstrated that they're not doing it, They're not protecting us, protecting our borders. Up until we had that conference there, the state was not demonstrating that they were protecting our borders. And so the 10th Amendment says all powers not designated to the federal government are reserved for the states. States aren't doing it, or the people. So the people have to do it. So that's why I presented this this resolution saying that the federal government's not going to do it, the state government's not going to do it. Our last line of defense is our sheriff. He's the key police officer, law enforcement officer, and he works for the county commission. So it's time for us to defend ourselves.
Has the inaction by the federal government in the state of Texas, and has it made you feel hopeless?
Well, you know, our founding fathers were hopeless, but they had the Lord. And if we just trust in Him, He'll show us the way. And so we don't feel hopeless, but, you know, we are under attack, and it's time to stand up.
Why are you passionate about this, about keeping these people out?
We have veterans that aren't being taken care of. We have a school system that is not teaching American history the way it should be taught. There's a reason why so many kids are going to public schools and private schools and home schools and all that, church schools. It's just, you know, our society is kind of disintegrating before our eyes. You know, it's the trinkets and circuses, or whatever the comment was from way back in the Roman days. You know, so I mean, it's really time to get back to the Lord, trust in Him, and start being respectful human beings again.
Tell me about what happened yesterday in the Commissioners Court meeting. So there was...
Yeah, the Commissioners Court the previous Tuesday voted on two resolutions, the one that I had submitted and then another one. I had submitted a public comment form before the public comment session was concluded, so I felt like I should be able to talk, either back the previous Tuesday or this Tuesday. So I asked them if I needed to submit another form. They said yes. So I submitted another form to talk about this resolution, but I didn't get an opportunity the previous Tuesday to talk about. And also item number 22 on the agenda, which had to do with the security in Smith County. So that's so I got up to talk, and Joanne Hampton, Commissioner Hampton, said that it wasn't on the agenda, and I don't remember the exact words, but it wasn't appropriate for me to talk about something that wasn't on the agenda. And I said, well, it's item number 22. But the first of the month, when I did present this, she got up and walked out. And then when I was done, she came back in. So I don't know what that means. I'd love to be able to talk to Joanne. I get along with all of our community, Hispanics, blacks, you know, Archbishop Land, Scott Turner, who's going to be Speaker of the House, James White, who was out at Roseland. I tried to get a bunch of our, you know, mixed community to come to Roseland Plantation for a Juneteenth celebration. It was just amazing. So, you know, James White is such a great representative, and he delivered such a great message at such a great place that, I don't know, I'm just surprised all of East Texas wasn't there.
So you were saying, like we were talking about, item 22 was about security, so you felt that this was relevant to that?
Right.
Okay.
And basically I felt like the previous week they just kicked the ball down the road, and they took an oath of office to preserve, protect, and defend, just like the president takes. His is a little worded a little differently, same content. And, you know, the county commission and the sheriff in Smith County is our last line of defense.
Are there several people that have this may seem like a silly question, but are there several people that have the same feelings that you do in regards to this resolution?
Man, I think there's just lots of them. And it's going to be huge. The there's another press conference coming up. There's a group of real Tea Party leaders, some of our people from East Texas included, that were down with Andrew Breitbart. And they spent like 2 or 3 days on the border and just saw, all of this, what's going on down there. And, I felt compelled to go down there myself, but I have some family obligations where I have to stay here. But it's just, they were saying the whole time they were down there, there's, like coyotes or spotters on the other side of the border that are there with the phone to their ear the whole time they're there, and they're looking at them. So, I mean, that's pretty scary. One of the other things that they said was they had they kind of had security for them as they're walking around, and they were going to some sort of inaccessible place. And I may have this story wrong, but I think it's mostly right, and you can verify it with Louis Gohmert. So they're sort of like crawling along the Rio Grande, and then they come upon Louis Gohmert sitting there by himself. Louis been down there 3 weekends the last 3 weeks. So that guy's trying to do the Lord's work.
So we were talking about how the part in the resolution about how you don't want them housed here, is that the main thing? We don't want them here in Smith County?
It's not that we don't. It's not government's responsibility to allow them to be here. It's the faith-based and, personal, Rotary Club, whoever. I mean, there's a difference. Government is power. Government is not feelings and emotions. Government's supposed to follow the law. And our law is, anybody that crosses that border is supposed to have papers. You can't get on an airplane or get across the border. We can't unless we have papers.
Instead of bringing them over here, housing them, giving them medical treatment, what do you think should be done?
Well, it's like what Ted Cruz says. He says we're harming them more letting them come across because it's a magnet for more to come, and they should be turned around and taken. They could have a front row seat in the first class on an airplane to go back to their home countries. And actually, he says that the crime rate in Honduras and Guatemala and Nicaragua, wherever they're coming from, has actually gone down. It's not as bad as what they say. And they say 20% are children, but about 8% of that, half of those are lying. So it's really closer to 12% juvenile. Really, not, more than 14 or 15. So, and it's just, it's giving cover for the cartels to get their drugs and gangs. And if you look at the DPS wrote 2 gang assessment things. There was one in April of 2014, and it's about 75 pages. It's just chilling. I mean, there's 8 crime cartels in the United States. They're just the worst there is. And 6 of them are based in Dallas. That's 190 miles away. I mean, that's huge. We've got people in our local Tea Party group here, they're considering moving to Colombia because they don't have the cartel there anymore, I guess. I don't know. That's all I can think of. I've been to Colombia. I got robbed there. I thought it was a pretty scary place. But here we have a former city manager for Tyler that's considering moving to Colombia.
Wow.
Hello. It's time to stand up and protect ourselves.
All right, that's all I have. Is there anything you'd like to add, or is there anything I haven't asked you about the problem, the situation at all?
No. As far as illegal invasion, illegal immigrants, we've got government needs to follow the laws, and faith-based organizations can take care of all the people they can. I know the YWAMers up in Lindale are just adopting kids and putting them in foster homes right and left, and that's great, but they can't handle them all. So